City boy, city boy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Nate the Great, back with another video. And you know we gotta go ahead and do a Monday Night Raw on Netflix review, baby. Okay. Fact. Tonight's show was ass. Fact. Triple H sucks at his job. Fact. Nobody is over. Fact. Everybody is a mid-card, undercard jobber. All the way from the World Heavyweight Champion down to Tozawa. That is a fact. You want to talk about facts, Triple H? Fact. I can't give a damn about anything that happened on tonight's show. Because not much happened. Genuinely, not much went down on this show tonight. What are we going to be talking about from this show a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 10 years from now? Huh? Are we going to look back on tonight's show, any of the shows over the past 6, 7, 8 months, a year, 2 years? This ass? What are we going to look back positively on? There was nothing in this show that got me more excited for Saturday Night Main Event, Money in the Bank. Even next week, just next week, Monday. Shit, Friday Night SmackDown this week. Nothing got me excited. Nothing piqued the interest of Nate the Great. It's hard to do these reviews every week without repeating myself. But the fact of the matter is that every week we get the same issues. The one positive thing that I will say about tonight's show will be the same thing that I said about the show 2 weeks ago. And that is with the threading throughout the show. That was, how we had in the beginning. You have the same shit, the same people in the beginning, and you come back to them throughout the night, and then everything culminates in the main event. That's a positive. That is a positive. But everything around this, negative. Even the story itself, negative. Because we already know what's going to happen as soon as we get these matches announced. We get Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso in a non-title match announced. What do you think is going to happen? You think Braun Breaker's going to job out to Jey Uso? You think Jey Uso is going to job out to Braun Breaker? No! It's going to be a fucking DQ. A bunch of people in the ring. Bullshit. That's what we're going to get. And that's exactly what we got. Let's go ahead, jump in to tonight's review, and let's just go from there, man. This show was ass, bro. This show was fucking ass. So we start off the show with, what was it? Seth, Braun, Punk, Sammy, Jay, that whole situation that they had last week. Just the whole thing. And from this recap, we were informed that there was going to be a match tonight set between Jey Uso and Braun Breaker. All right. So that's how the first few minutes went down. Then we had our superstar walkouts because fucking duh, right? We got to have them. All right. We have to see who's going to be on the show tonight, and they're going to walk to the arena casually, dressed up in nice suits and dresses, and on their phone talking to somebody, drinking Wheatley, And after we get through that, we have Logan Paul. He comes out to cut a promo. Now, fact, this promo was better than the last couple of promos that Logan Paul has cut, which is good. I will give him that. Logan Paul basically says that, you know, Jey Uso can't handle the weight of being a champion. He's gonna whoop Jay's ass. He's gonna be the new world heavyweight champion here soon. All right. After he's talking this shit, Gunther comes out and he interrupts. Now, once again, the same shit that's been happening every single time Gunther comes out is the same shit that happened tonight. You tapped out. You tapped out. You tapped out. These are the chants. This burial that Triple H has put Gunther through is generational. This is a burial that Gunther will not be able to dig his way out of, especially with the way that Triple H books things. You book Gunther to tap out in 8 seconds to a fucking move that Jey Uso never does. His own move, Gunther's own move that Jey Uso applied to him, and Gunther taps out in less than 8 seconds. And then you're going to have him come out there, beat on Pat McAfee, beat on Michael Cole for talking shit. And you're trying to expect the people to take this man seriously now? It's been over a month. Or it might be a month now. Yeah, it's a month now to the day that Gunther tapped out to Jey Uso. And still, 4 weeks in a row, the audience is chanting, you tapped out, you tapped out. It's over for Gunther. Nobody can take this man seriously. So he's out there saying that Logan Paul as champion will be good for business, that he respects Logan Paul because that's what this show is all about. It's all about respect for everybody. Everybody has to respect each other and love each other. He says that Logan Paul being champion would be good for business. But he says Logan Paul doesn't have the heart to beat him, the heart to be a champion, and says that if Logan Paul goes over on Jey Uso, which we all know that he won't. We all know that he won't. Then Gunther will get in the ring with him and eat him alive. All right. Gunther leaves the ring. Logan starts talking some more shit while Gunther is walking away. Jey Uso pops up behind Logan Paul, hits him with a super kick, says, hey man, I'm going to see you on Saturday, and Gunther, I'm going to see you in Phoenix. After the Money in the Bank. That's what Jey Uso came out to say. And then that was that. Next up, we move on to Roxanne Perez. She is getting signed earlier in the evening. She got signed officially to Raw. All right. Because for these last few weeks, they haven't been signed or anything. They've just been showing up unannounced, that no signing or nothing. Somehow they're in sanctioned matches, but they don't have a contract with Raw or SmackDown, which is crazy, but that's just what's been happening. So we see Roxanne Perez signing her contract with Adam Pearce, and then we move the fuck on. All right. We have a whole recap dedicated to Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton, who are going to be the two superstars of their respective teams, the Indiana Pacers, the Indiana Pacers, and the New York Knicks. Who cares? All right, let's move the fuck on. Jey Uso is walking backstage, and Paul Heyman walks up to him. Oh my fucking goodness, this whole thing right here pissed me off. All right, pissed me off. I'm gonna explain why. All right, so Paul Heyman tells Jey Uso that he negotiated this match with Braun Breaker and Jey Uso. He says he negotiated it to be a non-title match. Why? We don't know. But he then says that Braun Breaker doesn't want the title. He said Braun Breaker does not want the world heavy. Braun Breaker wants nothing to do with the number one prize on Monday Night Raw. Wants nothing to do with it. He does not want the title. He says Braun Breaker wants to slow down Jey Uso's momentum. Fact. Then he says, oh, it's just how great of a champion you are. Jey Uso has defended his title one time. Oh, he's defended his title one time. And he's already a great champ. What? Let me just ask a question. What even makes a champion a great champion anymore? You can be a great champion and you don't have to fight anybody. You don't have to put on great feuds. You don't have to cut great promos, be in riveting segments. All you have to do is win it, and you're automatically, everybody's calling you a great champion. And that's not to put Jey Uso over. No, that's to put Triple H over. So Triple H can feel like he's doing the right thing. So he has his characters go out there, if you can call him that, and say, oh yeah, you're a great champion. That's what he does. This is what Triple H does. All right. But that was this segment, right? Paul Heyman ends up walking away saying, oh, don't get the coffee. It's terrible. He just walks off. All right. Jey Uso continues. And then we have to move the fuck on. What is this? You mean to tell me Braun Breaker does not want this is one of those things. I mentioned this before. In this era, the World Heavyweight Championship, the world titles, period, they are not sought after by the talent. It's not sought after. Why does Braun Breaker not want anything to do with the title? Paul Heyman does not explain this. He says all he cares about is ruining Jey Uso's momentum. What momentum? He won a match by DQ. They're trying to call it a no contest, so that way Seth Rollins doesn't have to have a fucking another loss on his record. But that's what it was. That's what it was. It was a DQ. And Jey Uso won. No. That's a lie. It was a DQ, and Jey Uso lost by DQ. But they're calling it a no contest, so Jey Uso doesn't have to have a loss on his record. This is bullshit. And we move on. Next up, we get Penta and AJ Styles versus the Judgment Day, based on the two matches that they were both in last week with a respective member, because Penta was in a match with Chad Gable, all right, pinned Chad Gable, and then AJ Styles was in a match with Finn Balor, I believe, JD McDonough, one of them. I don't remember. Who cares? But this match was a nothing match. The only thing about this match is that it took 20 fucking minutes. 20 minutes. This is the first match of the evening. This is an issue, man. This is a part of that pacing problem that I have with WWE, is the fact that we get into our first match, and instead of it being high octane, lots of action, real quick, 1, 2, 3, pin, you know what I mean? Somebody gets over, somebody gets more over than they were before the match. Instead, we get a 20-minute match, 50-50, between some former tag team champions, mind you, former tag team champions, and two people that have never been in a tag team. Like, they've been in tag teams separately, but two people that have never tagged together. And this is a 20-minute match. Judgment Day has the help of Carlito on the outside, causing shenanigans, as usual. Penta hits fucking JD McDonough with a Mexican destroyer on the outside. Then Chad Gable, or El Grande Americano, pops up out of the audience and headbutts Penta in the back of the head. Finn Balor throws Penta into the ring. Coup de grace, 1, 2, 3. Penta is a jobber. Speed champion equals jobber. This is the second time, I believe, that Penta has been jobbed out by Finn Balor. Penta, who was supposed to be the hottest prospect coming up in the WWE, is getting jobbed out by Finn Balor. And he's the speed champion. Penta's a jobber. Penta's like, we have to sit there. We have to accept it. You have to accept that I was right about this. There were a lot of people, oh no, he's gonna be great. He didn't get a chance in AEW the same way they're gonna give him a chance in WWE. He's gonna be great. This, that, and the other. No, he's not. He's getting jobbed out to Finn Balor. Garbage. Triple H sucks. All right, let's move on. Io Sky, she's backstage getting interviewed by Kathy Kelly. Kathy Kelly asks her, you got the Money in the Bank coming up. You're a former Money in the Bank winner. How do you feel about the Money in the Bank coming up and this, that, and the other? Io Sky says nothing. She says, I know what it takes to be Money in the Bank winner, but I will be ready for Money in the Bank winner. I am the genius of the sky. Here comes fucking Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is talking about some, I've already put down a champion. I'll put you down too. All right, you've never been able to beat me in a one-on-one match. This, that, and the other. And then that's that. Becky leaves. She goes down to the ring because she's getting ready to have a match. And guess what? You're gonna love who she's in a match with, man. All right. So Logan Paul and after this, Logan Paul and Seth, they're backstage, and Logan Paul, he's on the phone with somebody. He's like, hey man, come and pick me up. I just got super kicked in the jaw. All right, I'm trying to get the fuck out of here. All right, here comes Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is like, hey, look. I know you're trying to get out of here. I know you don't want to be here anymore. But look, man, here's the thing. Braun Breaker's going to be in a match with Jey Uso tonight. Jey Uso is not going to be 100% when it comes to Saturday Night Main Event. So when you, or if you can win the title, then you'll know who to thank. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Hold on. Because he said more, but that's the gist of what he said, right? You'll know who to thank if you win that money, if you win that Saturday Night Main Event, because Jey Uso will not be 100% after tonight's match. Okay, so this match, I'm confused here, right? I'm confused. Why are you telling us everything that we already know? We already know that Jey Uso is going to be in a match tonight. We already know that Logan Paul could possibly take advantage of this whole situation, right? We know this. We know all these things, right? But Seth is out here just explaining to the audience, pretty much cutting the same exact promo that Paul Heyman cut on Braun Breaker just a couple weeks ago in the backstage area. It's the same shit. He said the same thing that Paul Heyman said. Oh, well, Jey Uso, he's not going to be ready. And Jey Uso has to prepare. Jey Uso won't be 100%. But that was that. We move on because that was all this segment was. It was a nothing segment. We get Becky Lynch versus Roxanne Perez next. All right. Versus Natalya in a triple threat. Yes, I said that. You heard it right. Natalya, who hasn't been on TV in I don't know how long fucking now. All right. I don't know how long it's been since I've seen Natalya in a match on WWE television. But hey, we need somebody to job out over here. So we're gonna have Natalya just get tossed in there, and she's gonna be the one that takes the pin. I already knew what was gonna happen as soon as I saw this match. I already knew what was gonna happen as soon as I saw this match was coming up. I was like, okay, so Roxanne's gonna win, and Natalya is gonna take the pin. I just knew it. I knew it. You wanna know how I knew it? Because Becky Lynch isn't done with Lyra Valkyria. Why? Because this is Triple H's era. You gotta remember, there are no one and dones. All right, there are no somebody gets beat twice and then it's over with. There is none of that. If somebody gets into a feud with somebody else, they're going to be fighting for months on end. Just like the New Day with the War Raiders, right? We're about to see them in yet another match next week, right? Which we'll get to later, right? We're going to see them in yet another match next week with the War Raiders. And also with American Made, right? We're going to see them again. We just saw these matches. We saw New Day versus American Made. We saw No, we saw New Day versus the War Raiders. Then we saw War Raiders versus American Made. Right? And now we're going to get New Day and American Made and the War Raiders. When I thought that the match last week was supposed to be a number one contenders match. That's what I thought it was supposed to be. But whatever, right? We move on because that's what it is, right? So this is what ends up happening in this match. Roxanne does not get an entrance. She gets a jobber entrance. That's also how I knew that she was going to win, because they did the same thing with Io Sky a couple months ago. They didn't give her an entrance, and then she ended up winning the match. So I was like, okay, she's probably going to win this match then. During the match, this is a long match. Not the longest match of the night. It's probably like somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes. This was slow. It was boring. It was botchy, right? Everything that happened in this match was far too choreographed, all right? So it was just slow. And Natalya, she's getting up there. She got her little booty knuckles hanging out the back. You know what I'm saying? She's getting up there in her age. So she's not the same that she used to be in the ring, right? So she's just really slow in there. So the match is slowed down. And there's nothing wrong with a slow match necessarily, but there is something wrong with a slow match when everything is choreographed. When everything is, oh, I got to set this spot up. We got to set this spot up. Like there was a spot where, I believe it was Natalya. She was grabbing Becky Lynch from behind. And then Roxanne Perez, she jumps up to the top rope, right? So Natalya, she's just holding Becky Lynch right there. They're just standing there. And then Roxanne Perez jumps over, does a sunset flip, powerbomb onto on Natalya. And Natalya does a German suplex with the momentum of that power bomb that she was getting from Roxanne, and German suplexes Becky Lynch. And this whole thing took like 10 seconds to set up. So the whole time we know exactly what's about to happen, but they're setting it up for like 10 seconds. There's 10 seconds where they're just standing there, where Natalya's just standing behind Becky Lynch, waiting on Roxanne Perez to get to the top of the rope. This is terrible. We should never see shit like this. We should never see shit like this, but we always see shit like this, all right? Because for some reason, Triple H has to have everybody go out there and they have to have multiple minute, fucking 10, 15, 20-minute matches where they have to memorize all these damn spots, and they put themselves on the line, put their bodies on the line, potentially get hurt just so we can get some cheap ass, this is awesome pops, all right? During the match, Lyra came out of nowhere and started attacking Becky, all right? I already figured that was going to happen. But that's what ends up happening. That pretty much takes Becky out of the match. And then Roxanne ends up winning, getting the pin on Natalya. Because fucking duh, right? Like Natalya, she's the only one in there that's not on TV normally. So of course she's going to be the one getting jobbed out. Right? We move the fuck on. We get Jey Uso and Sami Zayn backstage. This was also a nothing segment. Sami basically walks up to Jey. They're in the locker room. Sami's like, hey, if they start playing the numbers game out there, I got your back. That's it. You got this. I got your back if they start playing the numbers game. We move the fuck on. We get a whole recap of some shit that I hardly even remembered. Like this shit cut deep with how deep in the memory banks they went back to pull this shit up. We have Michael Cole when he was getting beat the shit up. He was getting beat the fuck up by John Cena. You know what I'm saying? Getting like barbecue sauce tossed on him or some shit like that. Getting fucking the fire extinguisher. He got hit with the fire extinguisher, right? AA, right? This is just everything. I did not even remember that this happened. I'm like, why are they showing this? Like, what is the point of this, man? But that's what they showed, right? Then we move the fuck on, right? We get Alpha Academy backstage with Adam Pearce, right? Tozawa and Maxine Dupree, they're backstage, and Tozawa once again is asking for a match with Rusev. All right, Adam Pearce sets it up for next week. Chad Gable comes in, interrupts. He says that it's going to be good to see Rusev beat the shit out of Tozawa and put Alpha Academy out of commission for good. All right, Tozawa and Maxine leave. Gable, he wants a match. A qualifying match for the Money in the Bank, and Adam Pearce is like, oh, we already talked about this, that, and the other. The New Day come in and they're like, hey, we're gonna be in a match next week with your guys and the War Raiders, so it would obviously better if your guys like, because nobody wants to see the War Raiders. Nobody wants to fight the War Raiders, and this is facts, right? But he was like, yeah, if your guys won, that'd be a lot better than if the War Raiders won, right? But that was all this segment was. This shit was nothing. Like I said, we move the fuck on. All right, we get Sheamus next versus Grayson Waller, and this was also a nothing match. Fucking 15 minutes to get to a finish that we already knew was going to happen. All right, Grayson Waller gets jobbed out by Sheamus, and Austin Theory has zero sympathy because a couple of weeks ago, Grayson Waller put Austin Theory in this same position, right? So Austin Theory, he was kind of like laughing throughout the match, telling him like, oh no, we don't quit. This team doesn't quit, and all this, that, and the other, right? Next, we get like it was like a 10-minute, it was damn near 10 minutes of an interview, a satellite interview between Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, and Tyrese Halliburton of the Indiana Pacers. What is this? This is pro wrestling. Why are we watching Tyrese Halliburton talk about fucking 2K and the NBA Finals and all this shit? We don't care. Hell, they were in Greenville, North Carolina, or South Carolina. One of those two. I think they were in South Carolina. They were in South Carolina. So who the fuck in South Carolina gives a shit about the Indiana Pacers? Why are you showing this on WWE television? Why is this taking up time? Tyrese Halliburton got more time this week than fucking Gunther got, Seth Rollins, Chad Gable. Like, he got more TV time than Logan Paul, Jey Uso. What the fuck are we doing? This is not ESPN. This is WWE television, my nigga. Like, what the fuck are we doing? All right, so that happened. Okay, then next up we got the return of Kairi Sane, which is cool to see. Haven't seen her in like 80 years. All right, so it was cool to see Kairi Sane back. But I know she's not winning this match. She's in this match with Rhea fucking Ripley. Like, what do you mean? So we got Kairi Sane versus Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark. Neither of these two bitches are winning. All right, Zoe Stark, Kairi, come on now, they're not winning. And then you got this, right? Check this out. You got Zoe Stark out there who barely ever wrestles. Triple H says, hey, go out there for 20 minutes and cook. Right? That's what he said. Go out there, y'all got 20 minutes, cook. Zoe Stark, she goes up to the top rope, tries to do like a fucking missile drop kick, tweaks the fuck out of her knee, and she had to get taken out of the match. So this turned into a one-on-one match. You notice how often, I mean, everybody is getting injured these days, right? Everybody's getting injured these days. It just is what it is. Everybody is just getting injured. Everybody has Bronson Reed out, right? Fucking, just everybody getting injured. Kairi Sane just got back from an injury. Dakota Kai, before she got released, she was injured every other week. Concussed, torn MCL, ACL, PCL, DCL, everything. And now you got Zoe Stark. Looked like potentially like she might have, got like a blew out her knee or some shit like that. Like it looked kind of fucked up, right? You have her go out there for 20 minutes and she hasn't had a match in who knows how long since the gauntlet match. It was the tag team gauntlet match. Shayna Baszler's last match that she was in, where and that was like what, 2 months ago at this point? A month and a half, 2 months ago, the gauntlet match. So why would you have her go out there and try to put on a 20-minute match where you expect her to cook? This happens far too often with people. You have motherfuckers go out there and put their bodies on the line for 20 minutes, bro. 20 minutes. And of course, Zoe Stark gets hurt. So this turns into a one-on-one match between Kairi Sane and Rhea Ripley. We obviously know what the fuck happens after this. Rhea Ripley wins, and that is what it is. We move the fuck on. Gunther, he has an interview next with Kathy Kelly. I don't even remember what this shit was about. It was pretty much a nothing it was pretty much a nothing interview, all right? Seth Rollins comes up and he starts talking this. He pretty much says the same shit to Gunther as he said to Logan Paul. Gunther's not as receptive as Logan Paul was, though, so they get into a little bit of a spat. Seth was like, I thought I had so much respect for you, and now I'm like, man, can we fucking move on? Who cares about this shit? Who cares? Like, who cares? All right, we move on. Rusev gets a vignette, all right, where he's talking about Tozawa and how they're going to be in a match next week. Who fucking cares? Rusev cutting a fucking promo on Tozawa? I just wanted to fix you like I fixed myself. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. This show pissed me off, bro. This show pissed me off. Because it's like, why are we wasting our time here? Why isn't Rusev out there this week in a 2-second match with Tozawa and just going over him, completely jobbing him out? Go out there, powerbomb, clothesline, accolade. Tap out. That's it. That's the match. Like, why aren't we getting that? That would be so entertaining. But no, we got to have Rusev. I mean, I will give Rusev this. He had one good line in this whole thing where he said, your ego might get you cheered, but your arrogance will get you slaughtered. I really like that line. That was a very good line. But the rest of this fucking vignette, the rest of this little promo shit that he was cutting on Tozawa, completely meaningless and completely boring as fuck. We move on. Judgment Day is backstage. All right, we get the same fucking segment week after week after week. The only difference this time is that Finn Balor is trying to now bring in Roxanne Perez because Roxanne Perez is a jobber just like the rest of the Judgment Day, right? So obviously jobbers got to stick together. So he's trying to bring in Roxanne Perez. She brought presents. She brought Dominic some chicken tendies. You feel me? And she gave Carlito a present as well. And, you know, obviously, Big Mommy Cool had an issue with this. Miss Raquel Rodriguez, right? She had a problem with this. And she said, you know, Liv will be hearing about this. She will be hearing about this. Cool, right? We move the fuck on, all right? Because we don't care. Next up, because we're at the main event now, Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker. This was a nothing match. We are... Bro, if you didn't know what the fuck was going to happen during this match, all right, I don't know what to tell you, all right? You obviously have not been watching close enough, all right? So, this match between Jey Uso and Braun Breaker, it wasn't the worst match on planet Earth. It wasn't the worst match that I've ever seen in life, okay? That's what I will say. This match, though, was predictable. We already knew what was going to happen, all right? So, Jey Uso, at some point during the match, I think he throws Braun Breaker out of the ring or something like that. He's getting ready to do the suicide dive out of the ring. Paul Heyman grabs his leg. Paul Heyman's outside of the ring. Paul Heyman grabs his leg, and Jey Uso, he's like looking at him. He's looking at Paul, right? And then he decides to get out. He starts backing Paul down. Paul takes his whole jacket off. He like starts squaring up with Jey, and here comes Seth from behind. Boom, ding, ding, ding. Match over. Here comes Seth from behind. Starts beating on Jey. Here comes Braun Breaker. Starts beating on Jey. They're jumping the shit out of Jey. Here comes Sami Zayn. He's walking down to the ring, watching his boy get beaten on. All right. Sami Zayn walks out. All right. And watching his boy get beat on. All right. Then he gets into the ring. He gets his ass whipped because he waited too long. So it was way too late to get that numbers advantage. Right. He's walking out to the ring. All right. And then he starts getting beat on. All right. Then here comes CM Punk to once again put the baby faces at an advantage. Once again. Right. And then I forget what happens. I believe Logan Paul came out of nowhere and punches Jey Uso out. Now, you mean to tell me you had CM Punk all night long, and the only thing that we got from CM Punk was like a freaking 30-second little skirmish with this team that nobody cares about, with Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman? That's what you mean to tell me? You had CM Punk there all night long, waiting backstage to come out for 30 seconds and fight with the same motherfuckers he's been fighting with for weeks. This shit was garbage, bro. This shit was garbage. This whole entire show, from top to bottom, this show was garbage. Like I said, I'll give them that they formatted the show as far as the threading. That was good, right? They did that, and that's exactly what the fuck they're supposed to be doing, right? You're supposed to be threading. There's supposed to be a middle, a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? And they attempted that tonight, which I will give them credit for. But everything surrounding the threading was just long, boring ass matches, monotonous ass segments that do nothing to further any stories. And then we get this predictable ass non-title match between Braun Breaker, who wants nothing to do with the World Heavyweight Championship, which is crazy. Like, that's still so fucking crazy to me. You mean to tell me Braun Breaker, who just lost his Intercontinental Championship a couple of weeks ago, all right, next night, or not, was it the next night? It was either the next night or the night, right, or 2 nights later, on that Raw after WrestleMania, right, after he loses his title, he doesn't want to go for the World Heavyweight Championship. No, he's content being a fucking henchman for Seth Rollins, being a brainless henchman for Seth Rollins. And now you mean to tell me that Braun Breaker, who is just the Intercontinental Championship, he doesn't have championship aspirations anymore? He doesn't want anything to do with the World Heavyweight Championship anymore? His whole goal in life now is getting Seth Rollins to the promised land? What does this do for him? We don't know. It's never been explained. Still not been explained, right? But he's just out there to help out Seth Rollins. Completely burying the World Heavyweight Championship. Because nobody wants it. Just Seth Rollins, apparently. And just Seth Rollins, fucking Gunther, who is a jobber, right? Nobody takes this man seriously, and Logan Paul, a fucking YouTube influencer. Like, this shit is just sad. All right, let me know what y'all thought about tonight's show down in the comments below. I obviously thought this show was ass. All right, so I'm gonna give this show a solid 2 out of 10. Okay, let me know what y'all thought. Like I said, down in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you want to hear some more. And this has been your boy, Nate the Great, back with another video. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.